Coming up on Small Town Big Deal, it's a house that will leave you speechless.
It is mind-blowing.
We'll be your guides on a house tour like you've never seen before. Then, we're blown away as tens of thousands come to a small Missouri town to celebrate a little leaf in a big way.
And just down the road, music, hay rides, big barns, tractors, and a little mischief helps keep history alive.
Not again. Welcome to Small Town Big Deal. I'm Rodney Miller.
And I'm Jan Carl.
We're in southwest Wisconsin in a beautiful area called the Uplands.
It is here where a man named Alex Jordan built a very unusual house high on a rock.
It is way more than a house. I mean, he was a collector, a craftsman, and a creative genius.
So we are going to be your official tour guides. You won't believe what's inside.
Welcome to House on the Rock.
It's been called a one-of-a-kind shrine to imagination, ingenuity, and obsession. It overflows with curiosities, antiques, custom artwork, and animatronics.
It all began in 1945 when Alex Jordan started construction on a house atop a rock tower.
He opened it up to the public in 1960. The admission price helped fund years of more construction, creating, and collecting.
Located about 45 minutes west of Madison, this attraction that defies description quickly grew in popularity. They now see some 200,000 to 300,000 visitors a year.
The original 14-room house is surrounded by beautiful Japanese gardens and was created with the idea of being one with the outdoors.
So he liked to bring nature inside. I mean, he's got all kinds of rocks and trees in here and waterfall.
Listen, a waterfall. In fact, there are 2 other water features inside the house as well.
Alex liked to collect Asian art and very meticulous pieces like the one behind me. You know, this was before the internet, so he was kind of a picker before there was pickers.
I think he was more of a salvager.
Yeah, like this window, he took it out of a church that was putting modern stained glass in, so he's really kind of a preservationist.
Alex really liked oversized things. For example, this light fixture. I don't think it would fit in my house.
But it's the cantilevered room, only supported at one end, that is the most spectacular.
So I think this might be the most famous part of the house. It's called the Infinity Room because it looks like it goes to infinity and beyond.
Yeah, what an architectural design here to get this to stay up, because it's 218 feet long and over 3,000 windows.
I don't want to wash them.
Especially the outside.
But it's a beautiful, amazing view of the Wyoming Valley.
Unbelievable.
It also can support 200 pounds.
Per square foot. So we're both okay on the foot we're sitting on.
I think.
Can you feel it moving?
Stop it.
Because steel gives, you know.
Stop it.
I'm just saying it does.
Go, that way.
Just a few yards away from the original house, Alex Jordan's imagination and overwhelming excess really take hold.
Displayed in very large buildings are thousands of items, some original, some reproductions, and some only Alex himself would have known their creative origin.
The huge Heritage of the Sea display may prove that point more than any other. At 200 feet tall, sea creatures battle it all out. You try to soak it in as you are serenaded by a musical octopus garden and encircled by 200 model ships.
Other exhibits are a bit more true to life and offer a nod to nostalgia.
So when you enter the streets of yesterday, you're transported back to the 19th century.
And there's a vintage carriage shop and a lamp shop, a hotel, an old fire department. Cool, and tons of antiques to see inside every shop.
And if you want to be participatory, you can get these tokens, and there are all kinds of cool kiosks.
Look at that one. Kind of silly, but kind of fun.
So I'm ready for my humor to be tested, but I just don't want to be brain dead or a sourpuss.
It's brain dead.
That can't be right. I want a refund.
Ronnie probably thinks it's going to say sourpuss. I think I'm hilarious. I'm hilarious! I knew it!
Some people might want to call the House on the Rock a type of museum, but Alex Jordan intended it to be much more than that.
He didn't want you to be distracted by facts. He wanted you to be wowed by what you're seeing and the uniqueness of it. A lot of family members will share information that they have about a particular item, so it's a good experience that way as well.
It makes the different generations talk. I remember that. What do you mean? I don't know what that is. And then everybody talks.
Yes.
Just about any room here is sure to spark conversation, but perhaps the most popular.
Welcome to the carousel room.
Wow.
I mean, it's one of the most popular rooms, and it's easy to see why. I mean, it took 10 years to construct this on site.
Now, there are 269 animals on the carousel. However, not one horse.
Well, that's because Alex put them all on the walls.
Of course he did. Now, it's one of the biggest carousels in the world.
Yeah, it's 80 feet wide in diameter, and it's 35 feet high, and it weighs 35 tons.
But you only have to admire it because you can't ride it.
Alex was after the wow factor, always seeking to please the guest.
He would stand wherever the newest rooms were and watch the guests. His goal was to hear what their reaction was, to see how they received what he had created, and if he wasn't hearing what he wanted to, he wasn't beyond changing it, he'd come in and shake things up and make it more guest-pleasing.
Alex sold the House on the Rock to fellow collector Art Donaldson in the late 1980s, but he remained on the staff as the artistic director until his death in 1989.
And in a way, it feels like his spirit is still alive and well here.
He was an amazing person. Would have loved to have met him.
Oh, everyone should come to see this, because you really can't do it justice talking about it or even showing it. You got to
Right.
see it for yourself.
There's nothing like it in the world. It's not recreatable.
Truly one of a kind. Yeah.
Up next, we celebrate a Missouri town full of beautiful color, community spirit, and miles of fun.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal.
You know, on the show, we have discovered that Americans will have a festival to celebrate just about anything. There is the Grits Festival.
The Duct Tape Festival.
Yep. Oh, and the Willie Bear Caterpillar Festival.
But here in Carthage, Missouri, they celebrate a time of year when things are the most beautiful.
The town of Carthage is rich in historical relevance, community pride, artistic expression, and beautiful surroundings.
But perhaps the most beautiful sight happens every fall, especially with the town's abundant maple trees, which inspired their annual Maple Leaf Festival.
Located 60 miles west of Springfield, Missouri, Carthage has been welcoming people to enjoy their town and festival every October since 1966. Now over 80,000 people come here to celebrate all that is fall.
The entire month is filled with activities, from pageants, a dog show, to a bike tour, and so much more. Then on the third Saturday, the biggest day of the festival begins, as the largest parade in southwest Missouri hits Grand Avenue.
We're here in Carthage, Missouri, filming the Maple Leaf Festival, which was pretty cool. But you know, there was another significant event that happened here a few years ago. My co-host, Jen Carl, was born in the building right behind me.
Thank you to Beverly and Don Carl for having me, and my brother Brian, I think he still laments the day.
But back to present day, and this native daughter is headed to the square where all the action is.
There are vendors in every space, but one spunky chef caught our eye and our taste buds. Her specialty is from her home country of the Philippines.
Mylene's food truck is a popular place at the festival, but she serves authentic Filipino food year-round in Carthage.
So Mylene, how did this food truck business start for you?
Yeah, my family loves to eat. I love to cook. I was like, okay, then we'll start with it. And then I met some few Filipinas on the way, and they tried it. It's like, ooh, they're good. It's actually the word of mouth that spread the news of it.
You know, that means the food is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
With her whole family pitching in, and in typical Filipino tradition, they packed us more food than we could possibly eat. and it was delicious. Just down the street, we came across another rock-solid family business.
It really began with my daughter just picking up rocks everywhere we went. And then she would always want to buy the shiny rocks.
Oh, that was me. Yeah.
And
Shiny rocks in a pouch.
That's right. After we did that 3 or 4 times, I went, we can make our own shiny rocks. And she was like,
What?
What? So we bought a tumbler, and then we bought 8 tumblers.
8 tumblers?
That's what we got now. It kind of started as her hobby, then it was our hobby. We only do a few shows. We also are in boutiques.
What a great father-daughter duo. Next up is the town's Central Park, which is turned into Tractor USA.
And the tractor getting all the attention was the 1920 Rumley oil pull tractor with a pony brake to test its power.
The Rumley oil pull was from a line of tractors developed from 1910 to 1930 by the M. Rumley Company. I can tell you that the Rumley oil pull was from a line of tractors developed from 1910 to 1930. This one has been painstakingly restored by owner Nelson Brummett.
So Nelson's been working on this on and off for 3 decades.
The pony brake is a device used to measure the rotating force produced by an engine's crankshaft, better known as torque. It helps tune motors for optimum performance. But this one had to be completely recreated from nothing.
You devised all this and built it from scratch.
I never saw a pony brake in person, but I looked at every picture I could find of one. I watched videos and then just thought about features it would have.
And you're both engineers.
Yes.
By trade.
Yes.
So when I look at your drawing there of how you came up with this, it's like, man, that is really cool.
They put on a demonstration by testing the old Rumley. It was loud and definitely drew a crowd.
So the tractor's only rated at 39 horsepower, but they got it to almost 36. And I tell you, it had a lot more in it.
Then the best part of Rodney's day, he got to drive that piece of history.
Now that was a thrill.
As evidenced by the smiles, you can always find something you love at the Maple Leaf Festival. And as my birthplace, this town will always be special to me.
Speaking of special, up next, we're about to honor a group of Americans that have literally kept our country going since the beginning. We'll be right back.
But first, a small-town big deal quiz. Which of the below items specifically uses wood from a maple tree in its construction? Is it bowling alleys, pool cues, or grand piano rims? The answer when we come right back. So which of the below items specifically uses wood from a maple tree in its construction?
The answer is all of the above. Rock hard maple is used because it's so durable and less likely to warp or crack.
Welcome back to Small Town Big Deal. We're still in Carthage, Missouri, where they're celebrating the transition to fall and the beauty of the maple tree.
But just 2 miles down the road, we found a very special place built by an incredible couple. This is a place that's a tribute to the American farmer.
Larry and Lois Frickensmith bought a 170-acre working farm and have turned it into a destination.
An amazing reunion of barns for celebrating life's special times. It brings guests back in touch with our agricultural history.
What you all have built is so beautiful. It's inspiring.
That's what our theme is here, is to teach people to learn about farming, to make it interesting, and I want to become a farmer.
We were invited to be part of Old Time Reunion's Harvest Fest,
which includes classic cars, food trucks, and perfect weather, among other things, and a variety of vintage tractors, including a Rodney Miller Special.
Now, I've had a few tractors stuck, well, more than a few in my life, but never one this bad.
While sitting there, I spotted Nelson and his antique Rumley tractor from Maple Fest.
Nelson, did you restore it?
I did.
How long did that take you?
I've had that since about 1987. We finished it about a month ago, I guess.
So, you've been working on this since 1987.
I'm a fairly good mechanic, and I have 2 boys that are both pretty good machinists, so we're pretty much in-house.
That helps.
From classic tractors to classic cars.
It's a 1968 Plymouth Satellite.
Why would you rather drive this car, a 1968, than a new car?
It's just enjoyable. You roll the windows down and just cruise, just out enjoying life.
Maggie Burlingame is here with her custom-built food truck.
So what's new and different this year?
I've always done a Philly cheesesteak, but I named it a Hillbilly Philly this year. It would tie in with my new little rig.
You know, we always talk about keeping history alive.
Yes.
Because it is a part of who we are.
And we own a farm. I love to see families bring their young kids out here.
The farmers are the greatest stewards of our land, and we want people to understand what the farming is about.
And we want our young people to go into agriculture.
That's our biggest thing right now, trying to find these young people that want to be involved, but have the same desire, same dream that we have that says, okay, 50 years from now, this place is still standing.
This journey began when Larry, Lois, and their son Daniel bought and refurbished some of the deteriorating vintage buildings across the street.
They're part of a vintage town called Red Oak 2, created by famed artist, the late Lowell Davis. After the original town of Red Oak was abandoned, he moved the buildings here and recreated his hometown.
Wisconsin Bridge Company.
We head over to see the latest restorations. The first stop is an old standard oil station.
And then however far you come down, that's how many gallons you got. Yeah.
Next up, the one-room schoolhouse.
Germany.
So work with me. Okay, I don't have any or I ain't got any.
I ain't got any. Is it money we're talking about?
Okay, I admit, Jan's a pretty good teacher, but checking out the old marshal's office, I am not sure I can always trust her.
Try it out.
No, you go first.
Go ahead.
No, you go first. I'm no dummy.
Don't lock it.
Oops, too late.
Not again.
Today's celebration includes the grand opening of the Monitor Barn with its warm front porch stage, and we are so honored to be part of its dedication.
Well, thanks everyone for coming out this evening. We really appreciate it.
All across this beautiful nation, we have family farms, and they are feeding not only America, but the entire world. And
as we travel around the country, you don't meet a lot of people like Larry and Lois. I mean, they're in an exceptional group.
A lot of people tend to remember the 14 years I was in Los Angeles on the red carpets, and I can tell you there is no red carpet, whether it was the Oscars or the Emmys or the Grammys, didn't even come close to that green carpet that I am looking at out that window.
We're blessed. We want to take care of it. We want to preserve it, but give all the honor to God.
Our day at Old Time Reunion wrapped up with a jammin' concert. It opened with the talented Hunter Rathcote Band.
Hey, I just wanna go back.
Then Missouri favorite Mark Chapman Band took the stage to top off the night.
Hold each other tight in the summer light. Watch the firelight dancing in the dark.
A wonderful, relaxing day at Old Time Reunion comes to an end. We'll be right back.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Small Town Big Deal.
You know, the house on a rock ended up being so much more than a house on a rock.
That's for sure. I mean, that merry-go-round, it was amazing.
And the 200-foot tall, like, sculpture of the whale and the octopus, not what we expected.
And it was so cool to go where you were born and the Maple Leaf Festival.
Well, thank you. And Larry and Lois, thank you so much for your hospitality. I mean, Old Time Reunion is such a great place, and thank you for honoring America's farmers. You know what? I think we need to have a party there.
That sounds good to me. I'm Rodney Miller.
You heard him. He said yes. And I'm Jan Carl.
Join us again next week when once again we celebrate the great stories from across America.
Okay, so this is a personality tester. I'm a little afraid.
We'll try it. Let's see what yours is.
I don't know why I think this is going to make fun of me.
Is it going to stop?
It can't decide. Wait,
hot
stuff! Oh, for sure, I thought it was a pusher. Hot stuff! Woo!
Yeah!